Hey everyone, and welcome back to another dose of Sims Legal Mentoring. I'm your host for the video, Simranjeet Kaur. I'm a future trainee solicitor for a top 20 UK law firm and a mentor to aspiring solicitors in the UK. That's a mad introduction, isn't it? I never do stuff like that. Look at me leveling up. This intro may have come about because of a little confidence boost I've had recently upon reaching 1,000 subscribers. You guys are such legends. Thank you so much for supporting me, supporting my content, supporting my channel. It means the absolute world to me. Now, all of that moist stuff out the way, let's get to the heart of today's video. Today's video is about a section that is typically overlooked by aspiring solicitors, and that's the work experience section. So this video will be helpful to you if you're writing your vacation scheme applications or your training contract applications. For those of you who are not familiar, law firms usually ask for candidates to list their work experiences, usually in chronological order, and these sections are typically 50 to 250 words long depending on the firm. And law firms usually specify what kind of work experience you can put in here, whether it's legal, non-legal, contract, full-time, part-time, voluntary, you get the gist. And in this video, I'll be talking about 4 common mistakes that I did when I was writing my work experience section answers, and also what I commonly find when I'm reviewing applications in this current cycle. Let's jump straight into it, guys, into that first common mistake. The first common mistake I usually find is people treating the work experience section like it's a CV. Now, detailing your work experience in applications is very different to detailing your work experiences on your CV. On your CV, it's short, it's concise. You are expected to bullet point your experiences, and it mainly focuses on what you actually did. So things like drafted letters to clients on this topic, or communicated with clients about this, or interviewed clients, or held meetings, etc. So it really focuses on the actual responsibility or task you did. In applications, however, it's different. In applications, not only are you expected to detail the responsibilities or the tasks you undertook, but you are also expected to talk about what you learned from the experiences, showing what skills or qualities you have displayed, talking about how it's transferable to your future legal career, and for extra bonus points, linking it back to the firm and talking about how that particular experience can help the firm you're applying to. So one thing I did when I was writing my work experience sections was talking about personal anecdotes that were specific to that experience. This is very different to a CV. Let me read you guys a short extract from one of my old answers for a particular work experience section. So I've got my laptop here below, and I'm going to be reading one of those specific examples that I was telling you about when I was writing my work experiences. And this example that I'm going to give you is during my time as a social secretary for the University of Bristol Bollywood Dance Society. Of course, look at me, I'm so cultured. I loved being social sec, actually. Anyway, that's a tangent. As social secretary, I was in charge of organising events, etc. In this example right now, I'm talking about my negotiation skills, and I could have easily stated in this section I showed negotiation skills by contacting third parties and other organisers. However, I actually went into detail about how I specifically showed that skill of negotiation. So here I write, negotiating involved adding incentives. For example, I offered regular social media posts advertising a particular Indian restaurant, which they agreed to in return for free samosas for our event. So here my negotiation skills involved offering something to a third party in return for something else. So free social media posting in return for the free samosas. Of course, I had my priorities straight. Those samosas were very necessary. So can you see that that's a very specific example that I've provided, and that is the level of detail that law firms are looking for. They don't want you to simply state the skills that you are required. They want you to actually provide anecdotes and examples to show how you've displayed that certain skill. I'll be posting more examples of work experience sections on my Instagram page, so please feel free to check it out. I think I've already got one posted on there already, so if you want some more examples of what I've written for my work experience sections, be sure to check it out. Now, this next common mistake I found actually links to that previous example that I've given, and it's people putting too much emphasis on legal work experience and not enough on non-legal work experiences. Law firms ironically don't want to see someone who is living, breathing and sweating law only. They want to see people who have outside hobbies, other interests. They're actually human. A common concern that I feel like aspiring solicitors have is they have plenty of non-legal experience but not enough legal experience, and this is something that they feel hinders them in their training contract applications, and they feel like they cannot mention enough in their applications as well. I'm here to tell you that that's completely not the case at all. And let me give you a particular example that I always tell my mentees and I always talk about in events that shows how you can actually utilize those non-legal experiences to show those transferable skills and show to law firms that you would succeed in a career in commercial law, even though you may not have as much legal work experience as you would like. So for this analogy, imagine that you are working in a supermarket or a retail shop, your favorite one. I'm going to go for Asda because they have super cheap stuff and I love it there. So imagine you are working at Asda and an elderly customer approaches you who is really frustrated because she's saying that she can't reach particular products because they're at the top of the shelf. What would you do in that situation? This is something that you can talk about in your work experience section. Let me tell you how. So there are many transferable skills from this situation of the elderly customer being frustrated at you that you can showcase to firms to show you have those transferable skills. Firstly, communication. So how would you communicate with someone who is frustrated, who is annoyed? You would speak in an empathetic tone, you would speak clearly, you would speak slowly, you would use words like I understand that, I apologize, etc. Another transferable skills therefore you can show here is good customer service. Not only does this stem from communication, but it stems from showing initiative. So you could go to this elderly customer and you can say, let me offer to do the rest of the shopping with you as well. And that shows that you're going over and beyond to provide good quality service for a customer in the same way a solicitor would also provide good quality service for their client. So that's about 2 or 3 transferable skills that we've mentioned here. Let's talk about a few more. You could go back to your team at the end of the day following that encounter with the elderly customer. Let's talk about this issue that we're having in terms of accessibility and talk about how we can actually make the store a lot more accessible, not only for elderly people, but how about for younger children who also may want to access certain things on the lower shelf as well. So that's team working skills. Again, that's showing initiative. That's showing that you are going over and beyond to try and improve the situation for a company. And that's a bit about commercial awareness as well. So that's around 4, maybe 5 transferable skills that we've talked about here. You could even go one step further and say, look, you can talk to your manager and say, I am now going to analyze certain products, see what elderly customers or younger customers like shopping the most, and making sure that they are at the bottom of those shelves so they are easily reachable for these individuals. And literally that's like, I don't know, 5, 6 transferable skills you've shown for a non-legal work experience. And this is what I mean by going into specifics and providing personal anecdotes when you are writing these work experience sections. That example that I've given with this Asda analogy is very, very specific and it's very genuine as well. Grad recruitment would read that and think, you know what, this person has actually displayed these skills and qualities and they would make a good asset to the firm. That's what you want to show them. Now, the next common mistake I find is one that I'm definitely guilty of, and I feel like a lot of people do this for the sake of time, for the sake of the fact that, you know, it's just quicker and applications can be so long as it is already. So I see why people do it. And it's copying and pasting the work experience sections for every single application that you do. Don't get me wrong, guys, it's completely okay to use the same examples, the same experiences, but what I like to think about is the fact that law firms are judging your whole application. They're looking not only at your application answers, they're not only looking at your grades, they are reading that work experience section too. And if they feel like everything is perfect, but that work experience section is a bit too generalized, a bit not really tailored to the firm, then that could actually cost you going through to that next stage. If you want to provide a big whole picture to the firm to show them that you've made a dedicated decision to apply to them, tailoring that work experience section too is one where you can can also go about that. And let me tell you how you can actually tailor that work experience section. One way you can do this is a bit of a bonus point, is actually linking a specific anecdote or an experience or something that you've done to a particular initiative that the firm has also done, showing that similarity in values and ideals. So for example, say if you have had a lot of pro bono experience and the firm also likes to place emphasis on trainees doing, I don't know, 16 hours of pro bono every month or whatever. So then you can show in your work experience section, when you're talking about your pro bono experiences, that you have a passion for pro bono, just like the firm does. And then you can talk about how you can transfer those skills and experiences that you've learned from your pro bono to the firm, specifically in one of their initiatives or what they do. Another way you can tailor your work experience section to the firm you're applying to is to look at the firm's website, go on their training contract section or their vacancies section, and look for what qualities and skills they're looking for in their potential trainee solicitors. So are they looking for someone who's ambitious, for example, or resilient, or has good communication skills? Then what you can do is dedicate one single work experience to show that you have that skill entirely. Let me give you an example of when I was applying to a firm back in the day. They were looking for trainees who had a drive for achievement and extensive analytical skills. These were the key words that were actually used on their website. So those particular wordings, drive for achievement, and what was the other one? Extensive analytic skills. Analytical skills. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I got hungry at the end of that last clip, so I actually popped out for some lunch and then came back. So if I look slightly different or the camera angle is different, just mind your own business. And also, I've kind of induced myself into some kind of food coma, so if I sleep halfway through this video, again, please mind your own business. I use these exact key words for one of my work experiences. Here I was talking about my vacation scheme at PwC on the application, and in the first sentence, let me read my laptop below. I said, here I displayed a drive for achievement and extensive analytical skills. So those keywords have been used. And then I go on to say, I overheard my colleagues in litigation finding difficulty in providing a transaction at undervalue research note. So this is something that's quite specific to insolvency law, a topic that I had actually studied at university. I expressed my willingness to identify the relevant solutions for the client. My confidence grew when I presented my findings and defended my counter arguments. The high quality work I'd produced exceeded the expectations held for an intern. So can you see that this example that I've given, again, is very, very specific, and it's an example that specifically shows how I have a drive for achievement and how I've got extensive analytical skills. So therefore, there is no harm in using the same keywords that the firm uses on the website in your work experience applications when they're describing things like the qualities or the attributes that they want to see in trainee solicitors. Now, this next common mistake is one that is quite short and sweet, and I feel like a lot of applicants do this, and essentially it's not filling up to the word count. So sometimes in applications you are given 250 words sometimes per work experience section, and usually I find candidates only writing 100 to 200 words. For me, that's a bit problematic, and I'll tell you why. Of course, you don't want to be waffling, that's not great either. But it's all about striking a balance between ensuring that you are utilizing every single character or word count in an application, so the firm has that bigger picture, as well as ensuring that what you're writing is concise, it's relevant, you're not waffling or going off on a tangent. I like to think that I wanted to provide this firm every single bit of information about me. I didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I didn't want to go and leave a statement without any detail. So I made sure I always filled up to the word count for any work experience section that I did, no matter how big the word count or character count was, or how small the character count or word count was. In fact, commonly what I find is people are actually listing the kind of responsibilities and tasks that they did, but not actually, again, linking back to that common mistake in number one that I've mentioned, talking about what they've learned, talking about the skills or qualities that they displayed, or providing those personal anecdotes. So if there are 3 takeaways that I can give to you today based on these common mistakes I typically find in applications, it's be specific, go into detail, and tailor your application. So now we've watched the end of today's video. If you liked today's content, be sure to follow me on Instagram, particularly as I'm hoping to post more of my example answer type posts, particularly about the work experience section. So do keep an eye out for that. If you've decided, right, you know what, I've had enough of Simran, this is the last video I'm ever gonna watch of her, I'm not gonna lie, I don't blame you. I hope you have a lovely Christmas and a really happy new year. However, for those of you who want to stick around, you find my content useful, drop me a follow on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, drop me a message in the comment box below, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.